Hello and welcome to this topic of overwhelm is not the answer, but simplicity is. And this is your host, Bill, Eyes on the Road. Yeah, I might take a little glance over at my camera for a second, but I know some of you get a little squeamish when I'm on here and I'm driving. You're worried about me. I get it. You think I'm endangering myself and others, but I would never do that. I see you have somebody watching. So, if you are watching, I'm not sure if I can get my comments from my phone, but go ahead and put a comment in there if you're watching. Say who you are. Say hello. That'll be good. So, this morning, I started to watch an online summit that had to do with technique mostly, and checking my rearview mirror, and here comes a maniac driver. So I am looking, everything's okay, staying in the safe lane here. This guy or gal, who are they? It's a gal, and she's going 90. Anyway, I digress. And I got about halfway through the first presentation, and I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of information here. And taken by itself, I would say, okay, a lot of value, a good presentation. I'm not criticizing the presentation, but there were exercises that you would have to stop and do, and that's fine. That's also good because for those people who are really going to take the information and put it to use, that's what you want. There were some intervention exercises and tests of, are you fit enough to perform this particular shot sequence or whatever. And so the funny thing, I was like, okay, this is the first of more than 40 presentations, and I know what's going to happen. They're going to be people watch this stuff. Yes, thank you, Alex. I am driving safe, eyes on the road, looking to where I'm going, checking the mirrors. But there's going to be, if it was me, if I was looking at that one presentation, I would want to watch that a couple of times over again and synthesize and really practice one aspect of what was being taught. One aspect. But what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. People are going to watch all of those presentations, and there are going to be 40 of them. And they're going to end up with 120 to 400 pieces of information. Overwhelmed. So, uh, it's just really fascinating to me, and I think I'm going to try to watch that whole thing. And I think you might know what I'm talking about. You probably have seen ads from everybody about it, and I don't know. I tried not to overwhelm my students. I basically the first 15 minutes of a lesson with me usually goes like this. We toss a few balls back and forth underhand. We choke up on the racket a little bit. We do a little short, very, very short rally. Uh, I get them to the tee. We talk about, the hand, basically and tossing, receiving and sending, right? We don't often teach the receiving skills. It'll be interesting to find out how many talks talk about receiving skills. Um, If you're watching that thing and you hear them talk about receiving skills, let me know. I want to know. So then we talk about, all right, do you know what racket means? Right? And 99.99% of tennis players don't know what racket means. And that's something that changes people's minds. When they hear what racket means, then they're like, oh, huh, that changes my approach to the game. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. Not right now. So if you don't know what racket means, do a little research. Take to the roots of the words. So then what we do is we go, all right, you know, here's my hand. And then we put the racket on. Look, now I have a bigger hand. Right? So then we use it to catch and toss the ball over. But what are they teaching? Everybody's teaching hitting, strokes, hitting, and strokes. Everything's technique, 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 right? Um, and so we'll rally, and it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes. So depending on the competency of my client and the athleticism that they bring to it, it could take longer. We might spend 20 minutes doing that. But we'll make sure that we get some short court rallies in and whatnot, and at least 10-shot rallies back and forth. So then I asked them, okay, what's the most important thing that you've learned so far? And they usually say something along the lines of slowing down in my mind, not trying so hard, or relaxing, something along those lines. So then, I come over to their side of the net and I ask them, okay, well, how technical was that instruction? And by the way, I do this with every level. I mean, I do this with, when I get a 4-5 guy or a 5-0 guy who comes to the court, we do the same thing. Um, and then I ask them, okay, well, how technical has the instruction been so far? And they're like, yeah, like almost nothing, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 1 in terms of instruction. So then, but that's maybe the most important part of any tennis lesson you will ever get, is that when all these other things break down, if you just remember that it's a game of catching and tossing, receiving and sending, and all you have to do is get over there and get your racket on it and send it over to the other side, that can be what saves you in a match. But what's going to happen is people are going to watch all this stuff, and they're going to fill their minds with many, many, many technical considerations, right? And then for those of you who aren't aware, there's going to be a launch soon of a new teaching certification coming up. Being on the ground floor of that, and I'm excited about it. And I'm not at liberty to discuss too much right now, but it's not going to be a secret for long. Well, anyway, the reason I preface that is because one thing that I learned a while ago is the concept of the 45-degree contact point, or so, approximately 45 degrees. And so what I do then, after we've had these rallies, is we say, all right, here, start with your racket here, and you're going to make contact. You're going to catch the ball at 45 degrees, and then you're going to let your follow through dissipate. Let's get the thumb to go over the shoulder, maybe. Let's just get a little follow through and a finish there, and that works pretty well. And so to the ideal place where they want to make contact when they do that. And things get really easy after that. So the next thing that we do is we kind of build in, all the different varieties of strokes that there are. Because another thing that will happen is in these presentations that are going to be happening, people are going to be developing a mindset that there is one true swing that exists out there, that there's an iconic forehand, and that they should strive to have that iconic forehand. And I think it's misguided. So if you're watching that thing, I strongly recommend that you try to only glean one thing from each talk. And then from all of the talks that you see, pick, one thing for your ground strokes, one thing for your volleys, one thing for your serve to work on. And then figure out, how does that affect the visual training? What is the visual aspect of that? So, I think they have a person who's going to talk about focus and whatnot, and maybe some ball tracking. I'll be interested to see that one. And I'd love to present, because it's the thing that really ties everything together. So anyway, people get overwhelmed with all sorts of technical information, and if you can bring the game back of see ball, catch and toss ball, up and over, then you're going to have a lot more success and a lot less frustration and a lot less paralysis by analysis and all those other symptoms. So anyway, enjoy the summit, and let me know what you learn, and we can talk about the interface with the visual. And as a final note, as we're leaving here, Rich Nair is going to be starting a clubhouse discussion. So if you're interested in tennis industry brainstorming, problem solving, then send me an email to infinitevisioncoach@gmail.com and you an invitation to join us on Clubhouse. So, and thank you, Rich, for inviting me on the Clubhouse. I checked it out for just a couple of minutes the other day. It was pretty interesting. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. That's it for today. I'm about to cross the Bay Bridge on my way to Sausalito. I might go live again when I get to Sausalito.